imagine the word
recession.
The recession.
A recession right now.
What do you see?
They're down more than 16%.
So we're headed into this crisis.
Stock markets plummeting, job losses,
6 million people apply for unemployment benefit.
overall sense of doom and gloom. We all know this, but have you thought about what happens to SEOs or search as an industry during a recession? That's what we're exploring today. But before we dive into SEO during economic downturns, we need to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. What even is a recession? So, in simple terms, a recession revolves around a country's economy. Now, an economy is essentially a country's wealth and resources, and I'm talking mainly about the goods and services it produces, sells, and consumes. Now, when you add up all this production, purchasing, and consumption, you end up with a number called GDP, or Gross Domestic Product. When GDP goes up, it's a good sign. It shows that people are spending, businesses are producing, and overall, the economy is working the way it should. But what happens when GDP declines? Well, it tells us that fewer people are spending, producing, and consuming. And some economists believe that when this pattern continues for 2 consecutive quarters, roughly 6 months, the country is in a recession. And these significant declines in GDP are also seen in real incomes, high unemployment, retail sales, and industrial production. Basically, bad stuff is happening. Now, recessions aren't exactly as straightforward as this textbook definition. And if we're being blunt, most people don't care about this technical definition or other intangible things like an inverted yield curve. What we care about as SEOs and digital marketers is how our jobs are impacted, how hard our businesses will be hit, and how the overall SEO industry will be impacted as a result of recession. And while the annoying answer, like many answers in SEO, is it depends, the scary thing is that if you're not prepared before an economic downturn, you could be in for a wild ride. Meet Connor. Connor is, or I should say was, an SEO agency owner. He started his business in 2018 and had a niche focus on SEO and content marketing for travel sites. Within a year and a half, his company hit over 7 figures in revenue with just 3 employees. Life was good. He was in a financially stable position, so he proposed to his high school sweetheart. They bought their first home together, and he even had a little extra to retire his parents early. He tripled down and went on a hiring frenzy and even opened a second office in Austin. Then March 2020 happened. The COVID-induced recession, which essentially halted the global economy. No one was spending, producing, or consuming any goods or services. And travel was one of the, if not the hardest hit industry. So in the matter of a week, Connor's entire clientele dropped his agency. And with his back against the wall, he was forced to let go of his employees and had to file for bankruptcy. Now, despite the 2020 recession being the shortest in US history at just 2 months, it was able to bankrupt companies and leave millions of people jobless, anxious, and stressed. Now, Connor isn't real, but the fact of the matter is that stories exactly like this happen to real people every single recession. Now, while SEO is a multi-billion-dollar industry, recessions usually impact the actual business and the industries they're in. And there's always winners and losers during economic downturns. For example, in the 2020 recession, the travel industry was particularly hard hit because no one was allowed to travel. During the Great Recession in 2007 to 2009, building materials, real estate, furniture, and other durable goods got crushed. And in the 2000 dot-com bubble, tech took a huge hit. Now, no matter which industries are hardest hit, marketing budgets are usually one of the first to get reduced or completely taken away when a recession is looming. And unfortunately, SEO budgets are among the first casualties. Now, while it's understandable to cut budgets during economic downturns, SEO budgets, in my opinion, should try and be preserved. Basically, businesses need to continue getting leads and customers, whether there's a recession or not. And during economic downtimes, they'll be particularly conscious of reducing the cost to get these leads and customers, which makes sense. Thing is, SEO is one of the highest ROI producing marketing strategies with an average ROI of 2,200% according to Smart Insights. On top of that, SEO leads also have an 8.5 times higher close rate than outbound leads making it much cheaper to generate quality leads. Now, while that's amazing and all, the downside to SEO, and probably a big reason why it often gets cut quickly, is that it takes time to rank. It takes time to get traffic and realize the results in your revenue. In fact, in our study of over 2 million pages, we found that only 5.7% of pages ranked in the top 10 within a year. So it's important that you and the leadership in your company understand and embrace the fact that SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time to build backlinks and rank high in Google, but the benefits compound over time. Now, as consumers, we're also looking to cut costs during recession. So instead of hiring contractors to build stuff at home, we often choose the DIY route. Instead of going out for fancy dinners, we look for recipes and cook at home. And rather than going on expensive vacations, we research local destinations and drive. And do you know where we find all this information for free? Search. Historically, search engine user growth has grown year over year for over 20 years. In fact, Google's financial reports show significant financial growth during the Great Recession. They more than doubled revenue from 2006 to 2008. And from 2008 to 2010, Google grew on average by nearly 35% year over year. And we're talking about growth of around $8 billion. That means more people are looking for your products and services as they look for ways to solve problems and improve the quality of their life. And while you may not convert as many visitors as you might during an economic expansion, continued SEO efforts will attract more eyeballs to your content, helping you build both authority and share of mind. So in my opinion, abruptly halting your SEO efforts during a recession and hoping to pick up where you left off when the economy is in a better position probably isn't a smart move. If we use the analogy of SEO as a marathon again, stopping your SEO efforts is like taking a break at mile 5 and watching your competitors zoom past you. And the same goes for search. It'll continue to move on with or without you. Now, since no one knows exactly when a recession will hit or the businesses that will be most impacted, it's important you prepare well before a recession comes. And preparation might look different depending on your position and your company. For example, if you're a business owner or marketing leader, I highly recommend evaluating your existing marketing strategies and making sure you have cost-effective organic marketing tactics in your overall strategy, like SEO. Basically, people are going to be spending less during recessions, so generating the same ROAS during economic expansions will be tough. But if you're already getting organic traffic to your site, then pausing your PPC or CPM advertising campaigns won't be as painful because you'll still be getting free, passive, and consistent traffic through channels like search. It's basically a hedge. Now, if you're on the agency side, then my advice to you is to diversify your clientele. Take the 2020 COVID recession as an example. If you're running an SEO agency with a niche focus on just the travel industry, you could have very well lost your entire business in a matter of 2 months, like Connor. And if you're an in-house SEO, it's important you clearly communicate the value of SEO to leadership and consistently deliver on those results. Otherwise, it's likely to be one of the first parts of marketing to get cut when recession strikes. Now, if history is any guide of what may be coming, then I'm confident that SEO will fare well during the next recession. Now, whether SEO will survive the rise of AI is a completely different story. We have a video with our predictions on how SEO might change and what you should be preparing for, so go and watch that, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.